Cyberpunk Uncensored.
Hey, what's up everybody? This video is all about improvement points, also known as IP in Cyberpunk. Now, in Cyberpunk Red, we use a play style improvement system. And that was created by Richard Bartle. And just side note, when I first saw his name, it felt like it was a combination of like Richard Knight, the founder of Night City, and Rashay Bartmus, the guy who pretty much like destroyed the internet. It just had that weird vibe, like Richard Bartle was a combo of those names, and I thought that was kind of cool. It had like a cyberpunk vibe to it, or whatever. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get into exactly how this improvement point system works. Now, when Richard created this, let me show you. He basically created this system to put video gamers into one of four categories. And this is the system that's used for Cyberpunk Red for your players. So you're basically going to put them into one of four categories. They'll have a primary one and a secondary one. So let me explain. Those four categories are either warriors or explorers, socializers or role players. And what you do is you have your players look at this chart. The chart is in the Red core book. They basically circle five different things within this chart that best represents their play style. So, whether they're a warrior that likes to defeat an enemy in battle or have a nemesis to beat, or an explorer that likes to solve puzzles, or a socializer that likes to be part of the group, or a role player that really likes to act out accents and mannerisms of their character. Whatever it is, you have them circle their favorite parts of role playing, what's important to them. And they do that, they pick five of them. And then you see which category they have the most circles in, and that's their primary play style. And then look at the second one, because that's their secondary play style, and you can always reference that too, and I'll get into that in just a moment. So once the players circle their five main play styles, you'll see the category that they're in, and that'll basically help you break down rewarding them with improvement points. So in Red, there's this chart that you can see right here, and it basically breaks down the different levels, the different amounts of improvement points that you'll reward based on how that player was playing. So you're going to look at their primary category, say like if they're a warrior or a socializer or explorer, whatever. You look down that category and you basically see how they did in that session, and you're going to reward points first and foremost based on if they completed the entire campaign or mission, or if they just did one session, a part of that main mission or campaign. And now if they just did one little session or a part of the bigger campaign or mission, then you're going to go into their specific category: warrior, socializer, explorer, role player, whatever theirs might be. And you can reward them on their secondary one if they more so kind of had that play style for that session. But each session, you're going to go into each player's category and reward them accordingly. So like, on the lower end of the point system, maybe, they finished the session, they attempted to do their tasks, but it wasn't that great, but it was okay, so just 10 points. Or maybe they did that session and they were amazing using their warrior skills in combat, and did an exceptional feat of combat or something like that. Then they would get a higher point on that category. And each one has its own descriptions and levels of how they played, and you'll see in that chart how it's described, and you reward accordingly. And like I said, it doesn't need to be their primary play style category. It could be under their secondary if they kind of played more towards that in that session. Now, if they did complete the entire campaign or mission, then you're going to reward them based on the group. You'll see the category that says group, and that'll describe kind of the group accomplishments. Did they complete the mission with a couple cool moments or whatever? Here's how many points you get. Or, oh man, they completed the mission with a bunch of stellar moments, and they figured out this and that, and even completed some side missions during this campaign, and in which case you'd reward them the most amount of points or whatever. So that's how the chart is laid out. It's basically from 10, 20, 30, all the way up to 80. and then it's broken up into those categories, whether you're just doing a session and you're doing the primary or secondary category of that player, or they completed the entire campaign and mission, in which you do the group category. So that's how you reward the points there. And now the next thing is how they spend those points, and that's kind of important because there's a couple little details here that you need to keep in mind. You basically take those points and you use them to increase your skills. Now, there's this chart in the book that explains to you the amount of points to go, each level in that skill, and you'll see there, like, to go from 2 to 3 in a typical skill would be 60 points. To go from 7 to 8 would be 160 points. But some skills are a little more difficult. They require, 2 times the amount of points to increase to the next level. And you'll see that in the skill list in the book. It'll have a parentheses with a 2 next to it, and that's how you know it's one of those more difficult skills. In which case, you'll see going from 2 to 3 is 120, not just 60. Or from 7 to 8 is 320, not just 160. And then you can also increase your roll ability rank. And that has its own chart. You'll see right there. And those points are a bit more, it costs a bit more to increase those ranks, which makes sense. I mean, that's your roll ability. It's pretty important. It's a little, there's more to roll abilities than just a normal skill ability. A lot of them have subcategories and such, as you see. And I get into that in the roll breakdown videos. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but go check out the different roll breakdown videos that I've made, and I explain what the roll abilities and how they work and all that good stuff. But in this case, you can see, like, to go from 2 to 3 is 180 points. To go from 7 to 8 is 480 points. Now, I need to mention this because it's very important for GMs to know, and players. You can't skip levels. And by that, I mean, like, if you're a level 2, you have to, on a typical skill, let's say, just a regular skill, you have to spend 60 points to get to 3. And then you have to spend 80 points to get to 4. And so on and so forth, going up the ranks. You can't just skip points. You can't go from 2 all the way up to 8. You can't spend 160 points just to go to 8. To go from 2 to 8, you have to spend, 60 to go to 3 and play that out. 3 to 4, you got to spend 80. 4 to 5, you got to spend 100. You got to work your way up. Because let's face it, you can't go from, a level 2, like, let's say you have a rifle skill of level 2. And all of a sudden you want to get up to level 8. You can't just jump up to 8, spend 160 points, and all of a sudden you're a sharpshooter like that. Realistically, you've got to spend some time. You got to spend some sessions. You got to imagine your player had to practice and, I don't know, read books or tutorials, watch tutorials, get trained by a specialist. I don't know, however it happens, or just raw experience of playing, that character going through life and using those skills. Whatever it is, it takes time. So you're not just going to jump up. You got to, spend those 60 points to go from 2 to 3. And then give it some time. And then you got to spend those 80 points to go from 3 to 4. And then you got to spend 100 points from 4 to 5. You see how it works. You got to go to the next level. You can't skip them. You got to spend all those points to work your way up the ranks properly. So keep that in mind, GMs. Keep that in mind, players. Don't forget about that little detail. Otherwise, you're going to make it way too easy to just jump up, and all of a sudden you're going to see your player with nothing but 10s and all their skills and stuff. So just keep that in mind. That's how it works. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful. If you like these little crash courses, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're on YouTube. We're also on Twitch. We also have a Discord. Check out the links in the description. Give the video a like and a share. And yeah, like I said, check out the other tutorials. Make sure you learn as much as possible about Red, and join us in some gameplay. We'd love to see you. Take care.